Originally released in 1988, Dragon Ninja came with a few different names. Its official title in the UK, where I grew up, was Bad Dudes vs Dragon Ninja. The game is also known simply as Bad Dudes in other parts of the world. The Japanese and international versions feature different endings. In the international version, the bad dudes are seen eating a burger with President Ronnie, while the Japanese version, President Ronnie gives the bad dudes a statue. While the gameplay in Dragon Ninja is nothing special, it did gain a cult following. However, every home port is substandard at best.
Got it. I'm bad. Got it.
I bet you never thought the Apple II would have a port of Dragon Ninja. No? Neither did I, but here it is, and what an unplayable mess it is. There doesn't seem to be any collision detection rules whatsoever. As long as you're near the enemy, then you can hit each other. Not that it matters, because the controls are very unresponsive, so actually attacking anyone is by pure luck. Probably the best version of Dragon Ninja, or Bad Dudes as it was known in the States, and the one most people have played, but even that doesn't mean this is a great port. Released by Namco in Japan, Data East in the States, and Ocean in Europe, this Famicom version of Dragon Ninja suffers from clunky controls, flickery sprites, and questionable hit detection. But hey, at least it's playable. Another unplayable mess, but this time for the MS-DOS. The PC port sorta controls like the Apple II version. There's no feeling of actual making contact with the enemy when you hit them, but that may be yet again due to poor collision detection. An awful mess. This version is actually running a little too fast, just in case you're wondering. The MSX version is actually a port of the ZX Spectrum game, and as a result, suffers from really poor color and sluggish gameplay. It's not as slow as the Spectrum version, but still not very good. One strange point about this and the Spectrum is that during boss battles, it's not possible to jump diagonally. The Amiga version, like the NES Famicom, was released with two different titles. We'll play the one released as Dragon Ninja because it has a much nicer title logo. Apart from that, both games play the same. So we have a very good looking port at last. One that looks close to the arcade, but in typical Amiga arcade port fashion, this turns out to be a complete joke. Some people might try and make excuses about having no source code, having to design the game by watching video, and so on, but that's not an excuse for the total cock-up that this game is. Can you believe that the program has left out the ability to jump diagonally? It's impossible to jump over objects on the floor or gaps in a stage. You can't even do the flying kick. What a massive oversight that was. Also, the way you pick up items is annoying. You have to crouch and hit the spacebar. Why not just crouch over them? Why the need to reach over to that spacebar? What could have been the best home port is just another mess of a game. But hey, at least it looks better than the Atari ST version. As you can see, the C64 port is actually quite pretty looking, and it has background music all the way through. The controls are better than the Amiga port because in this version you can jump diagonally and pick up items without having to hit the spacebar. In fact, the control system in this version is quite clever. To punch you have to be pushing in a direction while hitting the fire button. This works quite well. To pick up items, just simply kneel on them and press punch. Unfortunately, this version is still a bit poor due to the terrible collision detection, woolly controls and super moon gravity. This Spectrum version is the same awful version that was ported to the MSX, but now with even worse color. Just like the MSX, the controls are stiff, the collision detection is a joke, and for some odd reason you can't do diagonal jumps when fighting the stage boss. In stills, the Atari ST version looks quite like the Amiga, but in motion it's much worse. As you can see, the game is incredibly slow. The controls are unresponsive and the game suffers from the stupid Amiga controls where you need to press space to pick up items. And you can't jump diagonally, meaning that it's impossible to jump over stuff. Why on earth is there a picture of Bruce Lee on the loading screen? I was expecting the Amstrad CPC port to be just as slow as the Atari ST version, but believe it or not, the game is faster and actually plays better. While it feels nothing like Dragon Ninja, this CPC port isn't all that bad. If it was an original title, it would probably get more respect, but since it's meant to be Dragon Ninja, it isn't all that hot.